Gator boots and our pimped out Gucci suits. Ain't got no dong, but I still identify. Can't pay my rent if forced to compete against men. But that's okay, I still wanna be a guy. Got a seamstress on staff sewing my rainbow flag. And that's alright, it'll be ready for pride. I want the men identifying as women because I'm a fake guy. La 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 la. Now, some of you might not recognize that remix. The original is a classic from the Big Timers, a group out in New Orleans who had mainstream success in the late 90s, early 2000s. The original song, it is titled Still Fly. The remix is called Fake Guy. The inspiration behind the song, the remix, is none other than our favorite prepubescent boy, the woman who is celebrated every year during Woke Easter, the purple egg herself, Megan Rapinoe. Oh, Meg. So far this year, Meggie has been extremely busy. I don't know if you guys realize this, but the NWSL, their season is well underway. Megan Rapinoe pretends to be the biggest star in this premier dump. Typically, big stars have absolutely no problem selling out games, especially games at home. Believe it or not, there are 2 or 3 teams in the NWSL who draw good home crowds. A couple of teams are drawing over 20,000 a game. That is not the case with Meggie Rapinoe. Her Seattle Reign, or as she likes to call them, OL Reign. Just in case you guys don't know, OL stands for Only Lesbians. Which is fine, that's cool. I have no problem with the lesbians. Actually, I happen to like them, especially the pretty ones. Have you guys ever seen Night Nurses from Jersey? Classic film. You guys should check it out. Anyway, Meggie has the home crowd in Seattle down to a cool 7,700 a game. Now, soccer's not the only thing that has been keeping the Megster busy in 2023. She has now added actress to her extensive resume of failure. Meg landed the leading role in a movie called The Nerd Meets the Bird. It's a classic love story about a nerdy tomboy who has dreams of growing up to become an actual prepubescent boy. Along her journey, she attracts a nice-looking bird in a park while feeding her fresh nuts. They begin a long courtship. Eventually, they become America's favorite woke couple. Soccer, acting, tanking companies through endorsement deals, all those things pale in comparison to the important cause that has kept Megan Rapinoe busy throughout 2023. During the NWL offseason, Meg enlisted in the woke army. She graduated from boot camp. She is now choosing to identify as Private First Class Megan Rapinoe. The transition was rather simple. There was no need to shave her head. It was already shaved. Over the last few months, Megan Rapinoe has been on the front lines fighting a really important battle. I'm fighting for the rights of the men I wish I could be to take over and dominate women's sports. Of course, Megan Rapinoe's not alone in this fight. Standing there right beside her with the super bazooka is Bob Griner, Bobby G. Unfortunately, this is a battle the woke army seems to be winning, at least when it comes to secondary sports like cycling and swimming. But there is a lot of resistance. More and more people are speaking out. When we first started covering Lia Thomas here on the channel back in November 2021, there were very few people, very few outlets speaking out against transgender involvement in sports. Matter of fact, besides myself and a couple of others here on YouTube along with Outkick, no one else was talking about this. It took the mainstream media 5 months to finally recognize what was happening with Lia Thomas. Fortunately, that's not the case today. You can make the case that this is the #1 issue right now in America, which that is very troubling. I think that is by design. They want us focused on something so ridiculous, something that shouldn't even be up for discussion, so we're distracted from the issues that actually matter. One of the latest voices to speak out against Megan Rapinoe and her army of rectum respecters is Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville. Tommy Tuberville, former college football coach who somehow managed to get elected in Alabama. In Alabama, all you gotta do is put an R by your name, you're automatically elected. You don't believe me? Take a look at the governor. Kay Ivey and Joe Biden, they shared the same crib and daycare. Yesterday, Tommy Tuberville, he was the guest on Crane and Company. Now, I had never heard of this podcast before, but apparently it's one of the many belonging to Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire. They were talking about the dozens of female athletes who signed a petition opposing the protection of young women. The bill is called Protection of Girls and Women in Sports Act. Long story short, the legislation would make it illegal for birthing persons born with a propeller to compete against innocent young girls who don't have that physical advantage. In other words, it's common sense. Now, even though Megan Rapinoe looks like she's been injected with toxic masculinity, with her constantly boasting about being a proud feminist, you would think she would support this bill. But no. I want to see men achieve their dreams. Every young boy has the right to aspire to be Miss America. I want to live in a country where the Miss America crown is given to the woman with the thickest beard. The guys at Crane and Company asked Tommy Tuberville for his thoughts on Megan Rapinoe. As you're about to see, Tommy Tuberville, I don't think this dude has any idea who Megan Rapinoe actually is. Listen to how he pronounces her name. He even claims she retired from pretend soccer, even though she is still collecting woke welfare from the NWSL. Megan Rapinoe is so unknown to Tommy Tuberville, if he was a cop and he pulled her over, he would put her in the men's jail. Even with that being the case, Tommy Tuberville still made some great points. Watch for yourself.
Yeah, if the Rapone girl is just talking about, where she's retired now out of soccer, and she was a pretty average player, but she was an activist, and this mainstream media gave her a loudspeaker to voice her opinion, and that's fine. But the problem is, if she's voicing now her opinion that, hey, trans boys should be able to compete against women. Well, if that would have happened during her career, she'd have been working at Safeway or Piggly Wiggly. She would have never got on the field. But now that she's retired, oh, yeah, I'm all for this. And that's the biggest bunch of crap I've ever heard.
This dude's absolutely right. I mean, Riley Gaines has made this same point. We've also made the same point here on the channel. I find it rather strange. Most of these athletes supporting transgender involvement in sports, they would be completely unaffected by it. I didn't hear Megan Rapinoe pushing this issue 10 years ago when she was barely making minimum wage in the NWSL. I didn't hear her pushing this issue when a group of 15-year-old boys dominated the U.S. women's team. I didn't see the Sue Bird pushing for men in the WNBA when she was still processing trash in the dump. It's only after they retire or they're nearing retirement, it's only after they have made all their money that they decide to support the issue. Like I told you guys before, Megan Rapinoe copied the blueprint of Colin Kaepernick. In the last 3 years, Meggie has made more money being an activist than she made her entire career playing pretend soccer. I'm to the point now where I want to see this happen in the WNBA. Now, I don't want to see dudes invading other female sports, but I'm to the point now where I would not mind seeing this happen in the WNBA dump. Let me tell you what would happen. There are thousands of active college basketball players. Less than 100 are drafted into the NBA. Of those that are drafted, many of them never make an NBA roster. You have first-round draft picks whose only opportunity to get inside an NBA arena is if they buy tickets. Since dump divers have no problem with it, why don't we put all these guys in the WNBA draft? Matter of fact, just rename the G League the WNBA. All 12 dumps, they can hold tryouts. You want to know how many WNBA players would make the roster? 0. None. After the teams are selected, the WNBA, they would cease to exist. At that point, change the name back to the G League, and the rest of us normal people can forget the WNBA ever existed. I have been saying for years, they need to shut the dump down. This is the perfect way to do it. I don't know if any of you guys have kids attending college in North Carolina. If you're a parent and you are paying tuition for your child to attend Duke, North Carolina, or East Carolina University, I would encourage you to stop. Let me explain what your hard-earned money is paying for. The medical wings of all 3 of these universities, they are now giving gender-affirming care to toddlers. Yeah, toddlers. Kids who can't form a complete sentence. Kids who think a pair of Hooters are sitting in a tree in their backyard. Duke is treating children as young as 2 years old. What fucking 2-year-old needs puberty blockers? What 2-year-old is suffering from gender identity? I know I'm not a doctor, but I was once a 2-year-old. You know what I remember about being 2? Absolutely nothing. What the hell are these parents doing? Did they see Tommy playing with dolls and think he was born the wrong gender? Did little Susie enjoy a corn dog? Now they think Susie wants to be Sammy? 10 years ago, there was not a doctor in the country who would agree to do this. Today, these doctors are called heroes. These parents are applauded for accepting their children. Back in 2009, and I remember this so vividly because I thought he was crazy at the time, but back in 2009, Glenn Beck said there would come a time where you would not recognize your own country. There would come a time when the mask would come off and these people would show their true colors. That time is now. Is this the America you grew up in? Glenn Beck was absolutely right, but give me your thoughts. Tommy Tuberville calls out Megan Rapinoe. He even pulls a KC special and mispronounces her name. Also, 3 major universities in North Carolina giving gender-affirming care to toddlers. I don't even know what to say about that. You tell me. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com. KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.